How you doing, Manginas? Tanky Toddler here. Bring you guys Girlfriend Stories, episode 50. We reached a milestone. And this is going to be a doozy. This one is definitely a very special one because, first of all, it's back to my personal stories, which I haven't done in probably over 20 episodes. Starting on Girlfriend Stories episode 51, I will be back to reading your guys' email. Obviously, the email's below. Email me your girlfriend story questions and stories and shit like that. I'll try to do my best to respond, and they most likely will be featured on one of the videos. So, before I get started, also, I just got a new PC. I got a desktop, and if you're wondering why I sound different, it's because my Blue Snowball is not compatible with Windows 8, so I can't use my Blue Snowball anymore until I get like a random update, because I checked out their webpage for support page. They don't have any drivers or software I can download to make it work, so I'm stuck using my Astros A40s headset for my microphone since I'm broke now. This was a pretty expensive computer and everything, so I don't have any money to buy a microphone. So I'm stuck with the A40s. Hopefully it's not that bad. Hopefully you guys can live. So anyways, let me get started because I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to start right away into the first story. And like I said, these are pretty nuts. These are different. These are funny. You guys are going to like these. The first story was a few weeks ago. We were out at the bars with my friends. I was with my roommates and shit like that. And my roommate, her name is Jess, she just goes, hey, there's this bar where one of my friends has a bottle service there, and that we can get in for free, we can drink for free. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking down for bottle service. That's awesome. Like, I always give bottle service on my work. They always order it, and I never get to participate. So, we get to the bar, and the girl meets us, and I knew the girl. She went to my high school. She meets us. She takes us into this lounge area where there's a bunch of couches overlooking the dance floor, and there's like a bouncer in front of it, and there's like ropes in front of it. It was kind of weird. That was super weird, and it's like, it wasn't a bar that was really shitty last year. They remodeled. It's a little bit better, but it's not a very high-class bar, so bottle service was kind of funny to me. I mean, it was a bottle of cheap rum, but you can't complain when it's free alcohol. So, I was already pretty drunk before we got to the bar, and the bottle service definitely didn't help. So I was pretty good to go at this point, and somehow we started talking to this guy named Jimmy. And he seemed like a really nice guy. He was dressed really nice. I think he had a suit on. It was dark and I hardly remember, but I do remember certain parts, which you'll about to find out. And so I was trying to hook him up with Jess. I was trying to wingman for Jess. And I'm like, oh yeah, here's my roommate. She's super cool. There you go. And I kind of just left as they were talking and walked away. And so I'm not sure I think I went to get shots, or I went to go to the dance floor or something, or hanging out with somebody else. But anyways, about a half hour or so later, Jess comes and finds me again, and Jimmy's not with her. And I'm like, where's Jimmy? And by the way, this was a 29-year-old guy, so he was like a grandpa in this place. And I didn't realize that at first. I was told this later, that he was 29 by Jess. And so she goes, yeah, well, it turns out he wants to suck your dick. And I was like, what? Like, that's funny, it's a good joke. She's like, no, like, he told me that he wants to suck your dick. And I'm in the bar, and I'm not homophobic at all, but I haven't even been told that by a girl, like, for a very long time, I guess. And even if I was told that, like, at a bar, just meeting somebody, kind of weird. So, Jimmy wants to suck my dick, and he was really good at it, let me tell you. He was probably one of the most practiced, experienced ones I've ever seen. Nope, that's Jimmy didn't suck my dick, okay? I'm not gay. And so that was weird. That was an eye-opener. And I'm like, whoa, this is new. It's never happened before. So yeah, so that was the first. And I freaked out at the bar. I didn't freak out, but I'm like, what? And I just like screamed. Nobody could hear me. It was really loud in there. So anyways, this next story is even worse. It's way worse. And so there was one night, we were just a Tuesday night, just chilling out. Me and Murray, Jess again. We were just drinking. We were doing a power hour, which is when you drink every minute. Anyway, so we were kind of getting drunk, just chilling out. And we go outside. Jess smoked cigarettes, so we went outside so she could smoke. And there's this girl out there smoking on a car, on the hood of it. And so Jess called out to her, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, she was, like, by herself. And she's like, nothing. She's like, it's my birthday, and I'm just drinking. We're like, why aren't you out to the bars? Like, what are you doing? Why are you inside? And the reason is because she lives by herself in the studio, is what it's called. It's the first floor apartments of my building. And she lives by herself, and she told us that she didn't have a lot of friends here names. So we're like, well, we're not going to let you drink by yourself on your birthday. Just come upstairs and drink with us. So she came upstairs, and we didn't think she was going to. And she was like a gothic scene little girl type thing. Not really like totally gothic, you know, not like a high school stereotype type thing. But she had dark hair. She had the makeup, the rings around her eyes, kind of thing. And I have this thing called a bucket list, where you kind of do stuff with different girls, you know. And I mean, a lot of guys have it. Like, you know, I got cheerleader on there. Definitely got to go Asian and shit like that. You had to go all minorities, and you know, you got this is like a buffet kind of thing. And it's gonna make me sound like a jerk, but don't pretend like you don't have a bucket list, okay? If you're 18 or older. So gothic or emo kind of thing is one of them. You know, I mean, it's not one of the high priorities, but it's like bucket list. You know, gotta nail it, if you know what I mean. So she comes upstairs, and she's drinking with us, and we got pretty drunk. And she started to get handsy with me, and she like puts her legs on me, and she kept trying to tickle me and shit like that. At one point, she rested her head on my shoulder, and I'm like, whoa, bucket list, check it. So, but anyways, she left. Oh, I got stretched. She left, and we hadn't heard we did. She messaged me on Facebook a lot, because I don't have a phone, so she had no way to message me on my phone. And about a week and a half later, it was a Thursday, I was working on that music video, the parody, the GTA Wrecking Ball one, and so I didn't go out because I was busy doing that. And then once I finished that, I just had a couple of mixed drinks, and I played League of Legends. So all of a sudden I hear a knock on the door about 5 minutes after my roommates left, and I'm like, oh, one of them forgot something, let me go open it. I looked through the keyhole, and it was her, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to hang out with her right now, because I wanted to just play video games and chill out and go to bed early. But it was obvious that somebody was here because I had turned off the music that was playing really loud when the door knocked to make sure that somebody was knocking. And check out my sniping skill. I'm the worst at sniping. But anyways, so she comes in. She's really drunk already, and I wasn't anywhere near her level, and she was annoying me. She was kind of being annoying. And I'm like, you know what? Like, the only way I'm going to even not be bothered by this is if I get really drunk too. So I drank as much as I could, so I wasn't going to be as annoyed as much. And at one point, I was like, hey, I've never seen what the studio is. I've only just been in my apartment here. I've never seen what it looks like. And the reason I said that is because I didn't want her to be here when my roommates came back, because I don't think they probably just want to go to bed. It'd be kind of weird. They don't know what she's doing here and shit like that. So we went down to her studio, and it was a mess. But the best part was there was a cat named Batman. It'd make a lot more sense if it was Catman, but she said she didn't name it. She probably did. But it was a really nice cat. I love petting that pussy. It was a good one. It was soft. So we just kept drinking, and we started watching Netflix and laying on her bed because, I mean, this studio is really small. It's like a dorm room, so there was nowhere else to sit but her bed. And so some stuff led to another. Like, I was pretty drunk, and let's just say I checked off the bucket list. But that's not the problem. That's not the main point of the story. The main point is when it got weird afterwards. And it got weird. So we were laying... Well, first I was just like, hey, you know how volcanoes work? Like, there's just some seismic stuff. There's stuff going on. There's some friction. And all of a sudden, you know, it has to erupt. And I basically go, hey, where do you want this volcano to erupt at, you know? It's about to. It's going to be overflowing. And she goes, inside of me. And I'm just like, what? What did you say? And so I asked, like, do you have birth control? And she's like, yes, I do. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I didn't, luckily, which was definitely a good choice. And because I don't trust anybody, I don't even know her. And she'd tell me that. And so I didn't do that. I let the volcano erupt where it may, just not inside the tunnel. And so we're laying there afterwards. I'm sweating my balls off, too, by the way. It was super hot in there, and I'm way out of shape. And so we're laying there, and all of a sudden she goes, I love you. And I am stunned at this point. I'm like, what did you say? And she's like, I was like, you said you love me? She's like, no, I meant I love you as a friend. And I'm like, people don't say that. That's not what you say. You just said you love me. She's like, I didn't mean it like that and everything. And then a little bit, like, there's a little bit of pause, and then she goes, do you love me? And I'm like, no, I don't love you. Like, you're pretty cool and stuff, but I don't love you. And she's like, no, but as a friend. And I'm like, once again, People don't say that. So then I was kind of freaked out at this point after one thing. I mean, this was kind of nuts. I had to get out of there. And so I was like, yeah, I have a test tomorrow. I need to study. I need to go to bed. So I go back upstairs, and once I start standing up, I was way more drunk than I thought I was. So that happened. And and then at one point also, before we even started, she had talked about possibly moving in. She's like, what are you doing for an apartment? I want to live with somebody. And I'm like, I'm not sure, I just do it day by day. She's like, well, if you possibly ever want to live with me. And I'm like, I don't know you. You know? So that should have been a warning sign. And so yesterday showed up, and she'd messaged me on Facebook. She apologized for the night. She's like, I don't normally do that. I was super drunk. And I was like, that's fine. It's cool, whatever. Let's forget it. And she asked me, like, do you want a relationship? And I'm like, no, I'm not looking for a relationship. So she comes up yesterday, and we're just drinking, playing cards, about to smoke hookah. Just 4 of us. It's me, my 2 roommates who are girls, and her boyfriend, who's one of my friends. And she knocks on the door, and she comes in, and I'm like, fuck. And once again, she's super hammered before she even gets to our place. And so I'm thinking, like, it's not going to be that weird. It's not going to be that awkward because, we talked on Facebook, like, nothing is coming of this. Well, I guess she doesn't quite understand the memo because she was all over me again. And, like, at one point she tried to make out with me in front of everybody, and I hate PDA, so I'm definitely not in for that. And she's like, hey, can I talk to you really quick? I'm like, yeah. She's like, let's go outside. And so we get outside, and she's like, I have something to tell you. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, God, this will only be bad news. She goes, did I tell you that I was on birth control? I'm like, yeah, you told me that a couple times. She goes, yeah, I wasn't. And at that point, I'm about to lose it. Luckily, I'm in a state of mind where I wasn't super drunk, or I'd have been so pissed off. I'm still pissed off, obviously, but I'm not going to freak out on somebody that's not even going to remember it, me freaking out about it. And I'm just like, great. I'm like, why would you lie to me like that? That's a really shitty thing to do. That's probably the worst thing to do. She's like, well, don't worry. Like, I'm going to get an abortion if that happens. And I'm like, that's not the point. I was like, the point is that you tell me you wanted me to, you wanted the volcano in the tunnel, and then to say that you're on birth control. Like, she tried to, I don't know what. I don't even know what she tried to do. I don't even know why somebody think that's a good idea. So that's where we are right now. I don't know what's happening, and it sucks because she lives 2 floors below me, and she's a nice girl. Like, she's nice, and I say that when she did a shitty thing like that. So who knows what's gonna happen? Probably gonna update the situation, and hopefully it works out for the better. But so far, I don't think that's possible. Yeah. So that's Girlfriend Stories episode 50. I told you guys it was a doozy. Yeah, it's fun. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay hairy, manginas.